Hello again, viewers. We're going to be rolling right along this episode, continuing our look at some of my favorite Borgs. And we're going to open up this episode with a training battle. We're teaming up with Kakeru and fighting against Met and Tama. I'm opening up with Killer Girl, essentially a more expensive command girl, but with bullets and a melee attack.
I'm nervous. March on! You guys are so weak.
Now, because I know someone will ask, why don't I just use Command Girl? It's because Killer Girl was the first Borg I managed to assemble out of 4 pieces, and as such, she holds a special place for me. That, and I like her style a little better than Command Girl's. Not that Command Girl isn't a good Borg in her right as well. Now I'm going to have to dance back and forth a bit here, as getting caught by that arrow does make me an easy target for the beam satellite. Though luckily it seems to ignore me for the most part, and I get free without too much hassle. Another benefit to Killer Girl's larger ammunition stock is that she builds power bursts faster than Command Girl can. And so I just pelt the beam satellite with killer lasers, as that puts out more damage than my bullets alone would. And while Kakeru took down Met's Arrow Ninja, I managed to finish off the beam satellite, leaving Tama down to his partner Death Arc. I'm turning my attention to Met, just so Kakeru and I can take on the Fortress 2-on-1. And although Death Arc's attacks are a little harder to dodge than beam satellites, I prefer getting it out of the way quick, just so I can start putting some incidental damage on Death Arc. Looks like Killer Girl isn't going to be around much longer. Although fortunately, Met's Clawworm wasn't too great either, and I managed to take it out with Killer Girl's last blast. And next on the field is G-Red. And is anyone surprised to see him here? He's your partner. He's the first Borg you get, and he's generally what you learn the game on. As such, he's always going to end up on a lot of players' favorite lists. He's powerful, easy to use, and fairly cheap, all considering. I'm just using Crystal G-Red here to show off a bit, but they're really all the same. He might not be quite as effective as he could be against Death Arc, but am I really going to hold that against him when he can talk in battle? And I can still put a hurt on Death Arc with multiple G crashes, at least when I don't run into Kakeru's explosives. And though G-Red is taken down, next up is Walking Bomb. And come on, any Borg that can burn the world deserves a spot on a favorites list. Especially one that can do it so easily. And next up is Cyber Girl. And I actually prefer Cyber Girl to her Super and Hyper counterparts. And while I don't get to show it here, I like her double beam claw. Not that the remote guns aren't fun to use as well. But with that victory, that's the last of the training battles for a while. So we'll collect our prizes and move on to fighting the Death Force once again. And next up, we're heading back to the Sky Fortress to take on the Wing and Angel Borg unit. And what better partner than our own Wing Specialist? We've seen Deathborg Sigma 2 multiple times, and I've certainly extolled its virtues on every appearance. So of course it earned a spot in my favorites list. It has all that speed, power, and fast-firing lasers, and all for the cost of 180 GF energy. Even despite the fact that it's as frail as tissue paper, Deathwork Sigma 2 is easily one of the best Borgs in the game, and I should really see about getting more of them. I'm just going around, taking out every target. And that rapid reload just makes it too good. I've taken a few stray shots, but it's not until the enemy calls in a big gun that I actually have to worry, despite Sigma's low health. Though of course, those fireballs are the big gun I was referring to, as an Anubis wing is going to be threatening even for me. A few more stray shots, lower my health even more. And I managed to get it a quarter down. But next up, Orange Fighter takes the stage. Although Orange Fighter may have been better suited to Blue Striker's place in the earlier episode, I wouldn't get the fun of dropping bombs through power scopes if I done that. So it all works out. Most of the things that I said about Blue Striker in the last video will apply to Orange Fighter here. Though its bombs make it better suited for fighting ground targets as opposed to fellow flying Borgs. Of course, with its charge cannon, it's still quite good at air-to-air fights. Especially with Power Burst when you can rapid them out like that. We can also drown the field in explosives. There really isn't much safe place for your opponents to go. I'm not sure why Slovak rebounced like that, but I managed to get rid of it before losing Orange Fighter. So next up is Flame Ninja. And Flame Ninja is really most players' first introduction to the power of flame in Gacha Force, and as such, he earns his spot more than readily. While it's kind of difficult to use on flying Borgs, he still manages to make quick work of this Blade Wing here. And besides, he's got a pair of dragon heads in his hands. How can you not like that?
We shoved them! I didn't even try!
So with another victory under our belts, we'll collect some more prizes and move on. And now we take on the Machine Borg unit. And I take a little more time selecting a partner for this fight, just because I wasn't sure which Machine Borg unit we were actually fighting here. There's a few of them in the game, but this one turns out to be the prototype unit.
Alright, let's rock!
I'm opening up with Beam Gunner. That's really the ultimate gun Borg, with the Giga Beam Cannon for shooting enemies through walls, and multiple beam attacks, both a gradual reload beam gun and the double beam shoulder cannons. Beam Gunner is easily an incredibly versatile Borg. Its only drawback is its very poor melee attacks. But come on, at this point, why are you bothering getting in melee if you're going to use a Beam Gunner? He certainly has a hefty cost at 650 GF energy, but he more than pulls his weight, as you can easily take down multiple more expensive Borgs with just a little bit of skill. And while I'm not sure why Victory Tank and Victory Jet show up in a Machine Borg unit, I'm not going to complain about an easy out. Just as long as I remember to get in a proper position before setting up a beam cannon shot. And while Tetsuya manages to close on the victory tank, another Proto Eagle shows up to take its place. Proto Eagle's actually kind of threatening here, certainly more so than that Victory Jet, as that Eagle Buster can go through walls just like my Beam Cannon can, so I make a point to take those out quickly. Well, Victory Jet here is really just a minor annoyance. On its own, there's really no chance of it actually defeating me. Of course, it doesn't have to, because it's nowhere near the end of the fight. Next up is a Proto King and Proto Panther. King's Victory Beams certainly do a number on Beam Gunner here, as they stagger you with each hit. And because they don't knock you down, you'd have to take a couple before you actually get some safety. And while I manage to take down the King, the Panther comes in from the side and scores a flip kick. It softens me up for that Proto Atlas. It'll probably finish the job. Though if I can at least tack some damage on before losing Beam Gunner, I'll be happy. But who should take his place? The Neo G-Red. And that's your partner's upgrade. The only Borg in the game to actually get an upgrade. And basically everything I said about G-Red applies here, but he's better in every way. He's got more ammo, deals more damage and HP, but the only drawback is that he costs more. And at 500 GF energy, he's really not that expensive, especially not in the point of the game in which you actually get him. And while this Proto Mars does manage to knock me around a bit, I still managed to hold my own, okay? It makes rapid use of that Buster Laser. It's really Proto Mars' best attack. And while my melee attacks aren't quite as effective, aside from the Neo G Crash, they still do good damage, even if I can't stun it as easily. So I still go in for them, just to make my shots easier to land. I unfortunately can't rely on G-Buster as much as I do against, say, smaller Borgs, as it doesn't knock down quite as readily. But I can still pop one off for some extra damage when I get the chance. Though with a Neo G Crash, I finish it.
Alright, I love it.
Like I said before, that's not all my favorites, and I'll probably return to them if there isn't support for another theme people would like to see. Though looking back on it, a lot of my favorites are really effective Borgs in their own right. But I promise that was just a coincidence. I've got some clunkers I like to use too. But that's all for now. Thanks for watching.